For decades, most Americans expected their country to be the global leader in tourism, a place others dreamed of visiting. Today, that sense of certainty has changed. Did you know U.S. tourism is experiencing its sharpest decline in years? Not just a slow fade? Picture a busy terminal at Pearson Airport in Toronto. Travelers, many clutching trip brochures for places like the Statue of Liberty or Yosemite, now check their phones for travel advisories instead. Scenes like this are appearing across Europe and Canada. A father in Manchester stands over his computer, comparing the cost of a week in New York, flights, a simple hotel, and one family dinner running over $3,200 to a 2-week stay in Spain for half that. These aren't isolated moments. They're part of a broader shift, visible in numbers, local experiences, and everyday decisions. This video looks at 10 contrasts that define the sudden retreat from the U.S. You'll see why people are stepping back, how Americans themselves are reconsidering home, and the practical realities shaping these new choices. But before we continue, make sure to subscribe. Number 10. From top choice to travel caution. The United States long held a reputation as the gold standard for destinations. Today, headlines describing safety warnings for America aren't rare. A traveler landing in New York finds more scrutiny at customs, with longer lines and additional questions. In Toronto, airport staff note Canadian travelers to the U.S. dropped by up to 30% from peak years. Airlines have responded by canceling dozens of U.S.-bound flights, while tourism offices freeze large-scale campaigns. American cities that were once featured on global wish lists now see fewer foreign faces on their streets. That welcome at border crossings, once quick and polite, is replaced with a subtle hesitation. Even regular travelers remark on the increased tension and slower pace at the border. Number 9. Trip cost versus value. The $60 billion gap. Economic impact is clear. The U.S. tourism sector is on track for a $60 billion shortfall this year alone. In Las Vegas, empty seats at casino tables are now common on weekdays. Hotel occupancy in Orlando, once stable, has fallen below 70% for the first time in a decade. At Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, shop owners see international business down by more than a quarter. A typical dinner for a family of 4 can reach $120 in Manhattan, compared to $60 for a multi-course meal in central Rome. The decision for many comes down to basic math. Why spend more to get less, and sometimes feel less welcome? Governors and mayors publicly call for travelers to return, but for many Americans working in hospitality, the shift hits hardest on a personal level. The pride in being a crossroads for the world now feels uncertain. Number 8. Home or abroad? The new American question. For generations, moving abroad from the U.S. was rare. In recent surveys, 42% of Americans now consider leaving the country. Conversations in supermarkets, barbershops, and cafes reflect this change. Rising housing prices in cities like Austin, Dallas, and Seattle push monthly rent for a 2-bedroom apartment above $2,000. A week of groceries, once under $75, can now top $150 for a small household. Health insurance policies come with monthly premiums over $400, even with employer coverage. The climb in everyday costs turns errands like doctor visits and grocery runs into sources of stress, not routine. Many say it no longer feels like thriving, only surviving. This mood is spreading from cities to small towns, challenging the idea of the U.S. as the ultimate safe haven. Number 7. Generational divide. Young adults opt out. The urge to look abroad is strongest among younger generations. Data shows that 63% of Gen Z and 53% of millennials express readiness to relocate outside the U.S. Even among Generation X, 35% respond similarly, with 26% of baby boomers open to moving. For many, digital job opportunities make international life more accessible. A 25-year-old in Cleveland can compare apartment listings in Berlin, where a modern flat costs less than in most U.S. cities, and apply for work remotely. Social media groups dedicated to American expats now have hundreds of thousands of members sharing tips about schools, healthcare, and taxes. In contrast to the 1950s, when most Americans expected to stay close to home, today's mindset treats moving abroad as realistic, not radical. Number 6. Nearby neighbors, Canada, and Mexico step back. Americans often assume close connections with bordering neighbors will always be strong. Travel data now contradicts that expectation. Canadian visits to the U.S. fell by up to 30%. Mexicans traveling north dropped by 23%. At border crossings near Detroit and San Diego, wait times have increased, even for routine trips. Reports of heightened document checks or confusion over paperwork turn weekend vacations into stressful ordeals. In previous decades, winter trips to Mexican resorts or fishing on Canadian lakes were simple, even spontaneous. Today, travelers from both countries plan differently, weighing risks and inconvenience against the experience they expect on the U.S. side. The reliability of these cross-border routines has faded. Number 5. Transatlantic shift. Europe issues. Cautions. European countries once defined American culture as aspirational. In 2024, France, Germany, Denmark, and Finland maintain official advisories on travel to the U.S., citing unpredictability and safety. Large group tours from Europe, especially school or university trips, have seen drastic reductions, replaced by coordinated itineraries to Spain, Portugal, or Greece. A teacher in Berlin now guides students through the process of booking a trip to Barcelona, often emphasizing the benefits of direct flights, lower prices, and fewer entry issues. The conversation shifts naturally from, when can we visit the U.S., to, why not try somewhere easier and safer? This signals a practical change in how families and organizations make travel choices. Number 4. Real-world encounters. The impact of negative incidents. News of difficult border experiences travels quickly. Two students, both holding valid paperwork, arrive in Hawaii and face aggressive questioning about loosely arranged plans. They spend hours in a holding room before being sent back to Europe. Reports like these appear in European media, prompting families to consider whether the uncertainty is worth it. Such situations shift the image of the U.S. from accessible adventure to high-risk destination. Travel agents across London and Amsterdam field more cancellations and advise clients on alternate destinations with streamlined entry, like Italy or Croatia. When a dream trip turns complicated, it changes future choices. Number 3. Price versus experience. Declining value for tourists. Many foreign travelers compare what $100 buys in the U.S. against elsewhere. In Los Angeles, that amount might cover coffee, parking, and a fast food meal. In Valencia, Spain, it pays for a beachfront lunch and train fare to a historical site. Staying in a standard U.S. hotel room often costs $200 per night before taxes and fees, nearly double the nightly rate for similar rooms in Vienna or Athens. This shift isn't only economic, but emotional. For travelers accustomed to efficient public transit in Tokyo or Stockholm, waiting 40 minutes for a U.S. city bus feels frustrating. The gap between price and experience has widened, causing many to quietly cross the U.S. off future travel lists. Number 2. Americans as migrants. The expanding double standard. While fewer Europeans plan leisure visits to the U.S., European cities increase support for American newcomers. Berlin, Lisbon, and Amsterdam now offer relocation guides targeting U.S. citizens, detailing legal steps, health coverage, and language assistance. Some cities sponsor open houses where Americans can talk to realtors and local officials. Meanwhile, U.S. border entry for foreign tourists has become stricter, with longer wait times and more frequent document checks. This growing contradiction, encouraging Americans to settle while discouraging their tourism, emerges in city hall budgets and embassy programs alike. The places once seen as competitor destinations now become homes for those leaving the U.S. behind. Number 1. The passport. Paradox. From gateway to barrier. An American passport held a near-automatic welcome worldwide for most of the post-war era. Airport routines have changed. In 2023, several countries raised entry requirements for U.S. travelers, including advanced electronic waivers and face-to-face interviews. At Charles de Gaulle in Paris, American arrivals wait longer and answer more detailed questions than before, some report being sent to secondary screening for routine vacations. For many, this reversal challenges their sense of global status. Instead of the smooth welcome once expected, the process is now uncertain. This change puts Americans in a position more familiar to other nationalities for years, prompting new questions about what their citizenship offers. Underneath every change lies a pattern. Daily experiences, price tags, and security checks shape perceptions more than global rankings or slogans. Contradictions surface in the reality that many Americans consider leaving while travel to their country falls back. The idea of the U.S. as the world's meeting point is no longer automatic. These days, travelers and residents alike reconsider what makes a place feel safe, affordable, and worth calling home. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.